Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate all of you who've joined us here, and also I'd like to acknowledge all of the hundreds that have joined us online. It's a lovely day to see people back in this building again, and it's a joy to be able to actually have some activity in the building. It's been a long time since we've been able to do this, and I'm incredibly grateful that all of you have made this effort. Dumelang and Sanibonani, and good morning and goeiemorgen. I am Jackie O'Sullivan, and I look after corporate affairs for MTN South Africa, and I'm going to be your program director for today. I'd like to start out by welcoming the Ngoyi, the Nkosi, the Similane and the Pilane families who have joined us today for this celebration of life event. And I'd also like to welcome all of the families that are joining us online. The purpose of today's celebration of life is to give us the opportunity to do something that we weren't able to do over the past 2 years. We have all lost friends and colleagues and relatives, and it's been a struggle for many of us. Normally, we're able to fall to the rituals that give us comfort in times of loss, and during the pandemic, we were unable to do so. The struggle of not being able to gather and to share our grief and to celebrate the lives lost was tough for everyone. And what we are looking to achieve today is to give everyone the opportunity to pause and reflect on those who have passed away. Some of us were witness to friends and colleagues and employees being really ill, and that too has left scars, both for the people who were ill and those who were tending to them and worrying day and night about their health and wellness. So this really is just an opportunity for us to pause, reflect, and also celebrate. We want this to be an event that will be memorable, that will be dignified, and we've invited all of you to join us in that process. We've also invited the amazing Joyous Celebration to join us today, and I'd like to thank them for making the effort to be here. It is always a pleasure to be able to partner with this incredible sponsorship that we've been able to maintain for so long. If you haven't attended a Joyous Celebration event, you are missing out on one of life's great experiences, and I'd really encourage you all to do that. It's a truly remarkable night out. I'd like to welcome our CEO, Charles Molapisi, who's joined us, our Chief HR Officer, Tebogo Manecha, and all of the other executives that have come to join us today. Some of them are traveling as part of our executive program where we're all going out and supporting the regions. So some of those are joining us online this morning as well. As we start proceedings, I'm going to ask everyone to take your seats. There's some seats up front here, and thank you to all of you that have joined from the balconies. You're all very welcome. To start off, I'd like to call on stage our CEO, Charles Molapisi, and our Chief HR Officer, Tebogo Manecha, to come and light candles to represent those who are not here with us today, candles that will burn for the duration of this service. Charles, Tebogo, please come and join me. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Each one of those individuals has left a legacy with all of us. They are family and they are friends that continue the grieving process. And I hope that we can just continue to keep those people in our hearts and in our memories. It's the memories that will keep them alive for all of us. I'd like to call up our Chief HR Officer now, Tebogo. Tebogo is just going to remind us of some of the things that we did and the collaborations that we engaged in over the last 2 years as we dealt with this extraordinary event. Thanks, Tebogo.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, colleagues, and a special good morning to the families who are joining us here and those who are joining us online. It's a really special day that we can be able to be together to honor the heroes who we so much loved, who've been part of our business. And I think they will remain the shining light in our hearts. The past 2 years, we've learned and experienced so much as individuals, as families, but as a business as well. As we reflect on the roads that we've traveled so far, a very difficult road, there's some key things that we can take out as lessons learned going forward. And there's some new things that we've learned. As managers, we've learned the importance of being responsive, the importance of managing change, but more importantly, the importance of learning new ways of collaborating with each other. And as an executive team, we found ourselves thinking hard about how are we going to work together? How do we keep our business moving forward while still taking great care of our people? Our goal throughout the difficult time has been to take care of our employees, take care of our people and their families. We wanted to make sure that every MTNer feels a sense of stability, a sense of calm in a very, very uncertain time. We committed to the entire business that we will do what we can and work very hard to avoid the difficulties of job losses through the pandemic. And we worked to protect everyone's livelihood. We also moved at pace to really distribute very quickly the tools that were so much needed for our people to be able to work remotely when we were hit by the hard lockdown. And I think one of the things that we've learned in the last 2 years is that life can change and change very quickly at a very, very short notice. And I think the lockdown, the pandemic, and the need for us to really organize people to work from home in such a quick, rapid way was just that. As a company overall, we also stepped forward as one of the corporate citizens in the country, in all the markets that we work in and within the communities. We contributed significantly, both financially and through donations, to the cause to fighting against COVID-19. We donated towards PPEs, we donated data, we donated devices. We also leveraged some of our offerings, like our Momo app, where we were able to reduce the reliance on cash, where we allowed free peer-to-peer cash payments under 200 Rand. That enabled our communities to continue with their daily lives, even during a difficult time. We also contributed a lot through our foundation towards the education. We made a 3 million donation through the foundation where learners in grade 10, 11, and 12 could access free education content to assist them with their homeschooling. And we can all remember the difficulties that came with homeschooling, where parents overnight had to become tutors, to become educators. We did many more other initiatives and contributions that are too many to mention. But I think this highlights the responsibility that as MTN, we understand we carry both for our business, but also for in the communities that we operate. Our attention to our people was probably the most top of mind during these 2 years, and it was impactful in so many ways. We saw ourselves significantly ramping up our offering in terms of our well-being and wellness solutions that we extended to our people, specifically around the areas of stress management and overall mental well-being. We brought more support as the pandemic continues to grip us. We worked with Life EHS to really step up and make sure that our people are supported in the right way. We also stood back towards the end of last year to reflect harder on what other things we can do to really offer MTNers an opportunity to manage effectively during the pandemic. And we introduced things like spring break, where we gave people some time off to really unwind, be with their families, and recharge, and be able to get a bit of balance. It was an overwhelming and unnerving time, no doubt, but one which I will personally remember for the sense of spirit, the camaraderie, and the commitment that was displayed by all MTNers, and we continue to display today. The losses that were suffered were significant and are still being felt today. When we see the faces on the board, it's a stark reminder of what the pandemic has done to us and what it has done to families, what it has done to our communities. Grief is not structured. It has its own timeline, and it follows its own crooked path. And every individual, every family, every community will take their own time, go through their own path of grieving and coming to terms with what has happened to us. The pain that lingers after a death is personal and unique, but as MTN, we are committed to stand by our people through the loss and through the pain and support them in every way we can. We have a dedicated toll-free number that we've put in place through our wellness office that is manned by our amazing wellness team, Elnika, Sister Debocho, and Dr. Wayne, who are always on standby to support you. I want to take the opportunity to remind you again that that facility is for all of us. Take the time to make that call and get the help that we need. Probably the most valuable learning from the past 2 years has been the power of us. Although it's been so difficult and so hard, the power of MTNers and the power of our community has come through. We saw the resilience, we saw the resolve of our people to keep our business going, to keep delivering the good work, both for MTN, but also for our customers. As we continue to work our way through the impact of the past 2 years, let us celebrate the family of our co-workers, but be honest and open when we feel we need help, and raise our hand, raise our voice to access the help. Our collective success lies in the health, the skills, the expertise, and commitment of all our people. And as MTN, as your leaders, as the managers, as colleagues in the business, we are here to support each other. We are here to make sure that we take each other by hand and stand together as a strong, resilient collective going forward. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tebogo. As I've been sitting here looking at these pictures up on the screen, my eye landed on Natasha Abed, one of our executives, and I started playing through my mind some of the things that I remember about Natasha, how she used to wear these crazy T-shirts. She had like cartoon T-shirts and heavy metal T-shirts, and she had this huge collection of T-shirts, and I would always come down here because she used to smoke, and then she stopped smoking, and then she started vaping. And I realized that the only way I could secure a meeting with her would be to come and catch her outside, which was also when I realized that I miss out on all the good gossip not being a smoker, because all the action happens somewhere out there. And every time I think of Natasha, I think of all of the fun and the energy and the laughs. I don't think about the pain and the sadness of losing her. And one of the things that I love about the executive team is that we do talk about her and we keep her fresh in our minds. And I think, you know, that's helped us move on, because it's helped us keep her with us. And I hope that with all of these faces and names, we can all continue to do the same. Now I'd like to just take a pause and bring on stage the wonderful, the incredible Joyous Celebration, who we have so missed in this building. Thank you so much. Please welcome on stage. Let's have another round of applause for the incredible Joyous. It truly does feel joyous to have that beautiful sound floating through this building again, something we've really missed and longed for. I'm going to hand over now to Pastor Mushe from the Grace Bible Church, who's going to speak to us just for a few minutes before we hand over to the CEO. Thank you, Pastor Mushe.
Greetings to the CEO and greetings to the HR manager, who might not be the favorite of everyone. Yes. I'd like also to acknowledge my presiding bishop, Bishop Mosasono, who brings his greetings to all the MTNers and to the families who have lost their loved ones. What a very sad moment, or a celebratory moment we have today, to reflect about our fellow brothers and sisters we lost through the pandemic. I think it is a very good and a very important day to take a time to pause. And as we take a time to pause, I just remember now the song that the Joyous Celebration has just made, Bathi Hlala Nami. So it means, God, stay with me. Ubusuku bufikile, it means night has come. It reminds me of an account of Jesus Christ when he was going with his disciples to go meet a man who was forgotten, a man who was in a cave, who everybody had forgotten about. And as they were taking on this journey, Jesus Christ, because they had been ministering the whole day, he took a time to sleep also because it was night. And as he was sleeping, his disciples probably were still reminiscing about the day as to how the master had healed the blind man, or the many things that the master had done, Jesus Christ. And then while the master was sleeping, then a storm arose. And as the storm arose, the ship was being tossed to and fro. And it seemed as if the ship was about to sink. And as the ship was about to sink, the disciples were also amazed as to, where is the master when our ship is about to sink? As the ship was about to be filled with water and was being tossed to and fro, the disciples wondered as to, where is the master when our ship is about to sink? And one of the disciples bravely tried to go look for the master and found the master sleeping. As one of the disciples found the master sleeping, he woke up the master and said, Master, carest thou not that we are perishing? I think these are the questions that we asked ourselves in these 2 previous years. God, carest thou not that we are perishing? Lonely like the man that Jesus was about to go reach out to, who had been forgotten, we ourselves felt isolated and wondered, Master, carest thou not that we are perishing? While some of us were wondering whether or not are we going to lose our jobs, we asked ourselves this question, Master, carest thou not that we are perishing? This is a question that some of us asked ourselves when we lost our loved ones, Master, carest thou not that we are perishing? This is a question of wanting. It reminds me of a story of one minister who had been ministering for many years. And as in one of his trips, as he was ministering, he then left to minister in a far country while his wife was then heavily pregnant. And while he was gone ministering, his wife then gave birth and they had a child, and he returned while the child was 6 months old. And when he returned, on the day that he returned, he then had a week to sort of spend time with his 2 children. He had the bigger one and the smaller one. And while he was still in the house and the mother was gone and he had left to do some errands, the small child came crawling to him and said, Ta. And he looked at him and he wondered, what does it mean? What do you mean by Ta? And the child came to him again, Ta. And then the older one came running and went to the fridge and took milk and then gave it to him. And then he asked him a question, the older child, how did you know that he wanted milk? But he said, I knew when he said Ta, he wanted milk. And I'd like to also remind every MTN and every family member that while we go through this morning time and we go through this celebratory time, God understands your Ta. There is no right way to mourn, there is no wrong way to mourn. God understands your pain. God is with you there. For some of you who might be family members of some MTNers who had lost their loved ones and you are wondering, how are we going to fend for ourselves? God understands and God is there. And God is with you. I'd like to also, for those that are struggling probably with depression and for those that are struggling asking themselves many questions as to how will I move forward without this family member of mine, understand this. God understands and God feels your pain. And in the scripture, in the word, it says that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. One day joy will come, your morning will also come. It might seem like it's morning now, but your morning is coming. I'd like to also share one last parable or a story. It is a story of a teacher who asked his students to draw a train. And after he had taken some time asking his students to draw a train, he then went to investigate and he took 3 students. And then he took the first student and he checked and they had drawn a train, but they didn't have a track or a railway. And he said, well done, you drew a train, well done. And he went to the second one who had drawn a train and a track, and he said, well done, you have done exceedingly well. And then he went to the third student, and what he found to the third student had only drawn the tracks or the rail. And he asked the third student, I asked you to draw a train. Where is the train? And the third student said, unfortunately, the train has passed. So for some of us, our colleagues, our family members, they might have passed, but they've left us a rail or they've left us a legacy to live on. For your colleague, for your family member, they've left you a legacy to live on. And one question I'd like to ask to every MTN and every family member, what are you going to do with the legacy that they've left behind? And also for you, when you leave, will you leave us a good legacy? I think one thing that the pandemic has taught us is that life can become very short. And we should be asking ourselves, what legacy are we going to be leaving behind for our world? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Moshe. I'm so encouraged by the thought that whether it is God or Allah or whatever higher being that you pay homage to through your life, that being will understand your da. And I hope we can all remember to have faith in the being that understands the da. Ladies and gentlemen, before we welcome MTN Joyous Celebration back up onto the stage, I'm going to ask our Chief Executive Officer, Charles Molapisi, to come to the stage and to address us. Thanks, Charles. Welcome.
Good morning. I first would like to thank the families. I'd like to thank the families of those who are here. I also want to thank the families who are connecting with us online. My message and the message from the organization to the families is MTN ya leboga. MTN is grateful. MTN is thankful for the service of your loved ones. We are thankful for what they've done for the organization. We are thankful for what they've done for us as individuals. They were and they still are friends. They were and they still are family. I believe in the power of remembrance, and I'm hoping that this event forms part of the healing process in your journey as family, as you reflect on the life of your loved ones. The assurance that we give you is that from an MTN point of view, their life was not in vain. May this event be a bandage that further hides the scar for the experience that you have been through as families. I also want to thank everyone for joining us here. Today we are here to honor the lives and legacies of those whom we have lost in very hard times of 2020 and 2021. Like I said, I wish to extend a special greeting to the friends and families of the MTNers whom I are honoring today. Some of you have been able to join us in person, and I look forward to meeting you after the service, while others have joined us online from around the country. You are welcome, and your presence is much appreciated. You see, the past 2 years, we have seen the world grappling with issues and experiences that were previously unthinkable to us all. So many of us suffered tremendous loss. So many of us lost families and friends cruelly, not being able to undertake the traditional acts of religion, symbolism, and faith that have traditionally existed to help us navigate such troubled times. It was hard not to be able to attend funerals or to do home visits for evening prayers. While our churches, our mosques, and our synagogues stood empty, many of us felt the yearning for the community that had always been our place of solace. In the past 2 years, MTN South Africa has lost 38 employees and 5 MTN Group colleagues. Many were lost to COVID-19 and some to other illnesses. Our inability to physically gather as teams during this time meant we were never able to pause, to stand together and remember our friends and relatives with the comfort of our work families. Colleagues, I use the phrase work families with due care. We spend a lot of time with our colleagues, and in so many instances, our colleagues have become friends and family. It is a human nature to gather with people who have similar interests to us, people who understand the stresses of the day and who can help us lighten the load. The onset of a global pandemic removed those physical personal connections, and we found ourselves increasingly focused on the task at hand and sometimes neglecting ourselves and the relationships we had forged at work over time and through many experiences. This morning, I'd hope we could all pause just for a moment to not only celebrate the lives of those whom we lost, but to celebrate the colleagues, to celebrate the connections and the friendships that remain as a dear part of our lives. The 5 stages of grief are well documented as denial, as anger, bargaining, depression, and as acceptance. And the rituals of our society and our respective faiths help us traverse that spectrum of emotion. What is often not added to the commentary about these stages is that the researcher who developed that thinking, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, in later work noted that some people may not only go through 2 stages or that process, and may in fact revisit some of those emotions. To some extent, with sad experiences of loss, this may be of no surprise. You see, colleagues, grief is not linear. It does not adhere to framework or follow a predetermined path or timeline. It can give us a sense of calm and understanding, and only to blindside us when we least expect it, through anger or emotions that are challenging to acknowledge, let alone to manage. So many of us are still working through the pain of grief, while also trying to adjust to a life without that person. We want to maintain connections to those we have lost, but we also feel the need to move forward and continue a life that will make those who have passed proud. That is why this morning matters, because as a company and as a team and as a work family, we need to recognize that we are rebalancing our lives. We all need to acknowledge that our new normal is a consequence of a deeply abnormal, and a new equilibrium needs to be found. I'm so appreciative that so many of you are embracing some time back in the office. Our anywhere, anytime work policy is designed to hold on the best of working from home while still giving us the opportunity to connect in person, even if it's just once or twice a week. I know this has been hard for some, that for 2 years we were faced with a significant and invisible enemy. We are all threatened. It's a natural to hunker when you are threatened down and to attach to those closest to you. It is normal for us as human beings to self-protect. This also means that when we return to the outside, there can be a lingering feeling of unease, which is something that many are managing as we transition to a world beyond lockdowns. Part of our collective transition to a world beyond lockdown is to reconnect with the very community that we had to shun through lockdown, namely our work family. By gathering here this morning, finally in person, we are recognizing the value of that community. And by being here, we recognize and celebrate not just the lives that have passed, but the lives we get to continue leading together. The years of 2020 and 2021 will forever be remembered. The impact of the pandemic will be recognized in our hearts, in our minds, through scientific studies and ongoing research on all levels of wellness. What I know for sure is that the MTNers all around the country, within South Africa and Amanko family, that you have truly showed unsurpassed resilience and fortitude. As a nation, as a company, as a country, as the world, we've been tested through this pandemic. Our business has stayed strong and our people grew stronger. By working together and sharing kindness and empathy, you, MTN, has kept our business moving forward. The South African executives and the full management team at Group Exco and I thank you for your amazing dedication to our business. As we reflect today on those who have lost, may we remember to speak of our departed friends and family with warm hearts and happy memories. May we reflect on their lives and the impact they had on us. Colleagues, let us honor their spirit in the way we continue to lead our lives. When supporting colleagues through grievance process, let us seek to walk with them and not try to lead them. Let us find a time to be quiet. Let us find time to listen. And let us be present to the pain of our colleagues, our families, and our friends. The English novelist Marianne Evans, who was known by her pen name of George Eliot, wrote beautifully on the notion of grief when she said, and I quote, she was no longer wrestling with the grief, but could sit down with it as a lasting companion and make it a sharer in her thoughts. Close quote. Colleagues, I pray for this kind of solace and peace for all who have faced the pain of losing loved ones. I thank you for your time today, and I wish you long life, happiness, and success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles, for those incredibly kind words and beautiful sentiment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to end this occasion on the wonderful high that is MTN, joyous celebration. So please, thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to the hundreds that have joined us online. We are going to now invite our friends and extended family that are MTN Joyous Celebration to see us out as we go back on our way through our day and through the days ahead. Thank you for being here, everyone. Please welcome MTN Joyous Celebration.
Indlela yami iyenyuka ngibonise ukukhanya nginguyo khulekayo kusingini sephezulu indlela yami iyenyuka ngibonise ukukhanya nginguye okhulekayo kosingimi sephezulu kosingisi mamise endaweni
have mentioned that a lot of things has happened, but we thank God for a second chance. We thank God that we can say that some of us made it. And the fact that you are here, you owe yourself greatness. You owe yourself to make your life better, your family's life better, your friends' life better. God did it, and we are here today. It doesn't matter which God you serve, but you are here today and you have a second chance at life. And what I'm saying to you this morning is, go out there as if it's the last chance you ever have. Just live your life to the fullest. Amen.
memoya oyingcwele Nkosi yami cela uphinde ukhulume memoya kwizimo zethu phinda ukhulume wenkosi yami ngoba izono ebengizenza namhla sobala ebusweni bakho ndiyacela phinda ukhulume memoya oyingcwele phinda ukhulume Nkosi yami ngoba zonke izono ebengizenza namhla sobala bahlekazi ebusweni bakho sibulela incebe ngaka sibulela uthando lungaka sibulela amandla ngaka sibulela umusa wakho sibulela inceba zakho sibulela wena njalo we don't deserve it but God siyabulela njalo we don't deserve it but ngoba zonke izono engize enzana namhlanje zisobala ebusweni bakho philulu moya oyingcwele phino khulume Nkosi
kuwo wonke amagama asemhlabeni elakho hallelujah yethi kuwo wonke amagama asemhlabeni la ngisho kuwo amagama asemhlabeni la yebo nasezulwini liphezulu siphila ngalo sinda ngalo emhlabeni nasezulwini elakho liphezulu